Hey everybody, and welcome to week 3 of CPT202. This week we are going to start jumping into blogging basics. So we're going to start actually jumping into one of the topics that we covered in the last couple weeks here and getting you ready for your first major project in the course. So I wanted to provide some blogging specs of what we're looking at when we talk about blogging and just how important and how huge it is across the world. So there's an estimated 31.7 million bloggers in the world, and that number goes up every single day. There's really kind of things on track that we're going to be seeing 40, 50 million. It's just going to keep growing as a affordable way for people to communicate with audiences and share their thoughts. One survey, almost 87% of bloggers have been actively blogging for at least 2 years. As I mentioned last week, blogging's been around since the 90s. So some people have been in it for a very long time. Other people just get started. Whether you've done blogging before or this is going to be your first time, don't worry. We'll walk you through the whole process. And if you like it, great, you can continue on. If it's not for you, not a big deal. That's the big thing in this class, is trying out all these technologies and seeing what you like and what you don't like, so you know that to help better define what kind of career path you might want to take. 70 million new blog posts are published on WordPress every month, and 44% of bloggers publish new content 3 to 6 times a month. So we'll talk a little bit about best practices here at the end of this lecture and why you should consistently publish if you are a blogger. So let's jump into the basics of the technology side of a blog. Now, I could walk you through a lot of boring steps, but what I've done in a lot of this course, I found other videos that are at least interesting that I'll walk you through. So the first video linked below this lecture, I want you to pause the lecture and watch this video, is an introduction to blogging. It just walks you through kind of the technology side of it, and it should be great to kind of make you feel comfortable that you understand when we're talking about a blog, we're talking about basically a specific technology web infrastructure that allows you to compute, basically write and share your thoughts. So pause this lecture, watch that video real quick. Okay, so I'm hoping you actually did pause and you watched the other video. The next thing I want to cover is the vlog, so video blogging. Now, this spun up basically from people who really weren't great at the writing side, but really wanted to get their personality involved in what they were sharing and some of the things they were communicating. So I've got a great example here, the 17 rants in 4 minutes vlog. So this is somebody that has regularly done video blogging, kind of doing some of that personality and just, basically getting their messaging and their communication style, I guess is the best way to say it. So again, pause the lecture, watch this video. It's pretty entertaining. You'll see somebody pretty much just go completely crazy on camera. It's a great time, and it just shows you the power that vlogging can have. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video. Vlogging is probably the most common thing you're starting to see on YouTube nowadays. People are moving a little bit away from the written blog style. But you also see people who do a mix. So you'll have the written style and you'll have the video. Again, 2 different sets of revenue generation that way, same messaging. So there's definitely some intelligent ways to do that. So what's the point? Why would anybody do any blogging? So communicating a message with the world, you being able to share your thoughts unrestricted and just put things out there is really the main reason why blogging became a thing. It just allowed you to interact with an international audience and share what's on your mind. It's a super easy format that, again, people can just bring up on their cell phones, read whenever they're, riding the bus or, traveling different places. It didn't require you to pack a book or pack a magazine or a newspaper. And it's something that can be updated extremely easy. And a lot of people update it on the go while they travel as well. It really provides a great source to just document things as well. If you want to use a blog more like a journal, you can just write into your blog weekly, daily, however you see fit, and it'll catalog all of that information for you, and you'll be able to have that moving forward. It is another way to just get your thoughts out. A lot of people might blog and just keep it private for themselves, so they literally use it like a journal. Other people just want to share their thoughts and opinions, and so they'll throw it out on a blog. It'll be out there for the world to see. A lot of the time it's looking for community. It's trying to build a community of like-minded people. So if you want to find people like yourself, you can blog, throw your ideas out there, and generally people will find you and you'll be able to interact and start, working with them. So all of this said, how do you begin? That's the big question. What are the steps to blog? Now, next week we're going to cover the actual steps for your assignment, but I do want to cover just the generic steps and the different types of blog sites that are out there. So the first thing is finding blogging website and software. That's number one. You got to figure out the technology. Then you'll get your account set up, and then you can start writing. And you'll just start getting your thoughts out there, and as you get more popular, you get more hits on your site, you can start adding ads and sponsorship, again, generating that revenue, which we all like to see. You can do newsletters that go out to people that subscribe. You get more views. You start cross-linking and having guest authors. You might write on their blog, they write on your blog. And that's just how you continue to build out kind of your blogging sphere and can be doing this professionally for a living. So what are some of the tools out there? Now, one of the things that gets a little confusing, and this is kind of WordPress's fault, but WordPress.org is the software that you could download and install on your own server to run a WordPress blog. So you would need to have a server set up of your own, you would do the install, you would take care of all the development side. That's not what I'm going to ask you to do, obviously, for your assignment. That's pretty sophisticated. You're going to use WordPress.com. Now, WordPress.com allows you to spin up without having to do all the technicals, and you have a WordPress install on their shared server and can get started right away. So that's what we're actually going to use for your assignment next week. It's a pretty easy interface. It uses a what you see is what you get, a WYSIWYG editor. You don't have to know coding, although knowing some coding lets you do some more advanced things. But you're able to type content, upload videos, upload photos, hit publish, and it's out for the world to see. Other blogging software you might have heard of is Tumblr. So Tumblr kind of came and went, not as popular anymore, but basically they were really focused on media. So it was all about photos and quotes and links and getting, audio and video up. Still exists today, not nearly as popular as WordPress. WordPress pretty much dominates the market. Another one that exists is Blogger. So Blogger was kind of one of the first ones. They're now owned by Google. Very, very stripped down and basic. I actually used to teach this for the course because it was not pretty. It was just strictly text, but Blogger has seen better days and not really that common anymore. So we moved away from that and got you into WordPress. So you'll all learn kind of the standard that a lot of people all over the world are using for their websites. Now, the reason why I thought blogging is really important, one, again, it's in those job descriptions. They're looking for business students that have these skills, but you can make a lot of money. And I'm talking a lot of money. So TechCrunch, the original starter of TechCrunch, I don't know if you've heard of that, Michael Arrington, as you can see here in this slide, brings in between $500,000 and $800,000 a month because of the blog that he started. So real money, right? This is crazy money. And so that's not, obviously you're not guaranteed to get to that point. He's been doing it for many, many years and cornered the market. But what I'm saying is it's a skill that if you pick that kind of special subject, maybe other people aren't talking about, or maybe you're just really good, you're a great writer, you got the personality for it, you can turn this into a career and be a professional blogger. So to help you along with this project, I wanted to cover best practices in blogging. It's not super easy. I'll let you know, I've started a couple blogs that have failed and I've deleted them and started different ones because there's a lot of work to it. And really it's taking the time to fine tune your audience, fine tune your messaging, and figure out what you really want to talk about. So I'm going to give you some kind of best practices that'll help you become a better blogger. Again, these don't really apply for your assignment, but it's more just helping you if you find you like the blogging style and you'd like to do this further beyond the course. These tips might help you out. So the first one's write with authority. What I mean by that is being a consistent writer and writing because you know what you're talking about is the big thing. If people read your writing and you're just kind of wishy-washy and you don't really seem like you know what you're talking about, people won't come back. They want to see and read from people that have experience or that are talking about things like they know what they're talking about. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be an expert to do this, but you should write like one. You want to make sure that your readers build confidence in who you are and get to know you and like your style. Extending your brand through a blog is really common now in business, where a lot of businesses have some style of blog because it gives you that kind of one-on-one feeling when you write messaging to your audiences. So you're seeing blogs show up now in really strange places with different companies, but this is why. It's that outreach. It's, again, that one-on-one with your consumer, with your audience that you want to engage with. So for number 2, choosing your content. Now, content can be really boring. If you just write a big old block of text and that's it, you don't really do anything with it, chances are people aren't coming back. So stay creative, stay informative. People should want to come to your blog because they're learning something, they're engaging something that maybe they don't normally have access to. Make your content easy to access. If you're doing video or imaging, make sure it's very interactive or brilliant looking. You want to basically create that excitement when people come to your site. And then you also need to keep that content up to date and make sure you stay current, because if you go to a blog and maybe it hasn't been written on since like 2017, nobody's coming back to that. It's looked at as kind of a dead site and people will basically stay away. Kind of on that note is number 3, timing. So you want to be consistent, and this is where it gets difficult as a writer to do this. People will start to get a set standard schedule in place. If you publish a new article every Tuesday, great. People will come to your site every Tuesday. They want to see it. They want to partake in it. And then maybe you skip a Tuesday. Okay, people are going to be a little irritated, not a big deal. Now you skip another Tuesday. People are slowly going to stop coming to your site, and it is extremely hard to win them back over. So be punctual. Be ready to pick up any new events. If something happens, be one of the first people to write and put it out there. It's one of those things, first to get it out there and get it into Google really does provide an advantage. There's something out there called Google Alerts. Some people are familiar with, some people are not, but it allows you to set keywords that then if Google finds them in like news articles, it'll basically gather it up and send you links to your email. One of the things that I do is I actually have my name and my company set up as Google Alerts. So if anybody's talking about me, it actually gets emailed right to my inbox. I can see what they're talking about, and then I can engage with it. I also do that for topics for my blog. So that way, if there's something new coming out that I want to cover, I'll know about it right away. I can get started and get my piece out there. Number 4 is frequency. So again, as I mentioned, some people write every Tuesday, and that's what they do. Now, once a week you'd think is pretty easy. It's actually pretty difficult. So you want to start slow and then add more. A lot of bloggers fail because they say, oh, I'm going to blog every single day of the week. Then they start missing a couple of days. They miss weekends. They start skipping, and you lose your readership. So start slow. Maybe it's just once a month. Maybe it's just once, every other week. Then build up to what you can handle. You want to impress people. You don't want to let them down. They do start seeing an expectation. Audiences will figure out in their own schedule what days to click on your website because they're looking for new content. So this is why it's important to always think about your audience and really prepare them for the best. Lastly, engagement. You can use a blog to make all the announcements in the world. That's great. But again, we're talking digital media, right? As we talked before, it's about engagement. It's about two-way street. You can put those announcements out there. People can comment, respond to their comments, do polls, use, social media tools, as we'll cover, to interact with your audience to help drive your content. The more interactive you are, the more successful generally you're being, because people want to interact with you. They don't just want to read an article. They could go to a newspaper for that. So make sure you post questions, you interact with your audience as best as possible. And as you grow, you're going to have to start setting ground rules. You're going to have to be able to block the trolls, filter certain words. You're going to see a ton of spam come in. So as you build this community, that's kind of the key, what you're trying to get to. You have to actually spend time curating that. And again, another time, demand on you, which is why people start to hire out and you start to build a team at that point. So all of these tips, I hope, will help you in your blogging adventures. Again, if you think this is going to be something you want to do regularly, I highly recommend it, especially if you like writing. If writing's not your thing, don't worry. We're going to get into other different topics throughout this course, as I already mentioned. So we'll try and find something that you like. Generally speaking, I don't think I can recall any time a student has said, I didn't learn anything or I didn't enjoy anything out of the entire course. So we will find something that you like, some skill that you can build. And then again, like I always tell you, chance to build revenue, chance to get that extra income coming in if you really enjoy it. All right, enjoy week 3. Make sure you get your discussion questions done. Make sure you get ready and prep yourself, because next week we're going to jump into that blog assignment.